Benoît Saint Denis versus Dan Hooker. Guys, from a matchmaking standpoint, this is going to be incredible. Now, I want to give you a prediction. If this was a 5-round fight, I feel as though I would be less bullish. In a 3-round fight, I'm quite confident in Dan Hooker. But for Dan to win, or for anyone to win, Dustin Poirier found this out, for anyone to beat Saint Denis, you got to bring a high output. And for Team Saint Denis, that's the problem with fighting Dan Hooker. He's got a high output. Is this fight 3 rounds or 5? I'm very confident in telling you it's 3, but historically speaking, sometimes I get surprised. Like sometimes it's the night of the fight and you find out that it's a 5-rounder in a co-main event. It really shouldn't be that way. I should know how many rounds it is, but I should know just by the fact that it's not a title fight and it's not a main event, that 3 rounds. I really feel it. I feel that it's confusing when non-title fights, non-main events, get listed at 5 rounds, but this is the kind of fight where there would be a potential for that. All of my sources and everything I've looked up is telling me that it's 15 minutes, and it's just very difficult to see a way. Look, to beat Dan Hooker, is there a blueprint? Take him down, hold him there. Dan Hooker's got a little bit of Diaz brother in him, where he likes working from the ground. He doesn't see an urgency when he's down because he's so comfortable there. And there are ways to manipulate that, but it takes a certain strength and it just takes a certain background. I think we're largely going to see a stand-up fight here. That's my prediction. Does that surprise you? Because everything that I read online, this is going to go to the ground. I think that Saint Denis is going to try to take it to the ground. I don't know that he's got those overwhelming wrestling abilities that would be required to take Hooker down. And don't forget, it's very hard to talk about Hooker like as a weak wrestler. That was easy to do early in his career. It's very hard to do ever since he fought Gamrot. You almost lose the ability to act as though Hooker can't deal with that style. And by the way, I don't blame you. Like, it's not a bad assessment. Earlier in Dan Hooker's career, right now, Dan Hooker's red hot. It would appear that he's on the backside of his career, but when you watch him, he's fighting better now. He's fought better in the last 12 months. His effort and some of the conflict and resistance that he gave Sarukian, even in defeat, there was some victories. I mean, there's a reason that he lost to Sarukian and he got booked before Sarukian. There's a reason that he lost to Sarukian and he's getting placed in a co-main of a numbered event right away, coming off a loss. And it's because those losses had a lot of victories, and those victories had a lot to do with the grappling. And I don't know of anybody that can go get the jump on Dan Hooker if they don't have overwhelming grappling that they go out and implement. Standing up with Dan Hooker is just a very tough proposition because he likes it, and it's hard to hurt him. I love this fight, and I am not panning Benoît Saint Denis. Benoit packs a punch. He shows up. He's also an endurance fighter. I love the concept of taking 2 endurance fighters and making it 15 minutes. I love that. When you take one of their weapons away, which is championship rounds, and you take it away from both of them, right? When you clip that wing, there's something that element largely turns those in to some of the great fights and the fight of the nights, the fights that we talk about, those ooh and ah and wow moments. Saint Denis and Hooker is going to bring those, but if you're asking me for a prediction, I'm very strongly predicting Dan Hooker.